With regard to the question of whether entrepreneurs are born or they're made, it is very clear that entrepreneurs are made. It's nature, it's nurture, not nature. There is no DNA gene that makes you an entrepreneur. It's not whether your parents have been an entrepreneur or not. It's actually what you're exposed to and how much you want to be an entrepreneur. So anyone can be an entrepreneur. Innovation is a word that's used very commonly today, so much that it's become a cliche. I think it's important that we define what innovation is. Innovation is something that brings value to the world. It's something that makes money for a corporation. Innovation does not just equal invention. Invention is something that's new, that comes out of R&D, that comes out of the labs. It's a technology, it's a patent, it's a paper, it's a new idea. But these things that are invention cost money. Innovation makes money for people. So what's missing in this equation to take invention to make it innovation is commercialization. We have to figure out what this technology, what this patent, what this new idea will mean to someone in the real world. So commercialization is an aspect of finding out who will benefit from the new invention. And that's the process of entrepreneurship. So to repeat, innovation equals invention times commercialization. You need both commercialization and you need both invention and commercialization to get to innovation. And if either are zero, you will get no innovation. Whenever you have a business idea or a technology that you think you can convert into a business, the number one thing that you have to think about is who is the customer. And then you have to build the company from the customer back. If you try to take your technology and push it out into the world without figuring out who the customer is, you will find out that you have a potentially a very good technology and no market for it. So the single necessary and sufficient condition for a business is a paying customer. And so if you want to start a business, figure out who your paying customer is going to be, that group of people, and then work your way back. So with regard to a business, the role of an entrepreneur and the role of a manager, the entrepreneur gets the business going to start with. These are the people who create new enterprises, new ventures, new companies. The manager is a person who later comes in and manages that business. By that I mean they make the business more profitable, they make it more, optimize it, they de-risk it, they allow it to produce predictable results and predictable high-quality products. So the way I see the world is you have entrepreneurs who create new things and you have managers who optimize those things and make them more risk-free and more predictable results. I think it's imperative that all managers understand that they're in business and that a business must make money or it will do no good for society. All business people want to do good things for society. But you can't do any good for society if you're bankrupt and you run out of money. So it is imperative on managers and business people to make sure that their business is viable. By that I mean that they create value, but at the same time they extract value that will allow the business to continue to operate. Otherwise, it does no good for anyone. It reminds you of on a plane, it says, you know, in the case of an emergency, put an oxygen mask on yourself so that you are alive, because you can't help anybody else if you're not alive. So it's the same thing for a business, and that's the number one imperative of a businessman and a manager, to make sure the enterprise stays in business. That is, it has positive cash flow. So to create a new business, you need an entrepreneur. But that business will not get very far if you don't have managers. To really develop the business, you need an entrepreneur to get it started, and then the manager will step up and be able to do all the things to scale that business, to put in processes to make consistent quality, to do things to de-risk the now existing business. It will also be able to optimize that business to improve productivity. But if that's all you do, you won't continue to grow. So you continually have this duality between entrepreneurs and managers that make a great business able to grow at the same time, creating new business, and continue to make it profitable at the same time. When we think about promoting entrepreneurship, it is incredibly important to understand that there are different players in it. Much like in soccer, you would have a goalie, you would have a midfielder, then you would have someone who would be a scorer. In an entrepreneurial ecosystem, it's important to have people who are academic institutions, government institutions, and then investors. And by that I mean the academic institution's job is to create entrepreneurs. They don't focus on the company, they focus on the individual and developing them to be more entrepreneurial. The government's role is to make sure that there are companies in the world. And then the investor's role is to make sure that there are big companies that they invest in and they make money so they can reinvest to create more big companies. And all together, all of these create a vibrant, healthy ecosystem. But again, the university's job is to teach people how to fish. An economic development agency's job is to make sure there are many fish. And the investor's job is to make sure there are big fish that help to reinvest in the system to create more. So each plays a critical role, but I think one of the most important things is to understand that they play different roles. The last thing you want to see is your goalie going up to try to score, or your Messi, your scorer, now playing goalie. Each needs to know its role and focus on doing its job in an excellent manner.